Commander Vexstar stood in the center of the war room, his 6 eyes focused on the spinning hologram of a blue and green planet. The other officers of the Zephyrian Empire gathered around the glowing display, their scaled skin reflecting the soft light. This planet called Earth looked perfect for their next conquest. "Show them the data," Vexstar ordered, his voice echoing in the metal chamber. Intelligence Officer Mordok stepped forward, his claws clicking on the smooth floor. He touched the control panel, and new images appeared in the air above them. Pictures of humans walking on 2 legs, driving metal vehicles, and living in small buildings made of stone and wood. "These creatures call themselves humans," Mordok began, pointing at the images. "Our spy drones have been watching them for many months. They are very weak and stupid." General Kulvex, the largest alien in the room, laughed loudly. "How weak are they?" "Look at this," Mordok said, changing the images. Now they could see humans running away from other humans who looked dead and rotten. They cannot even fight their own kind when they get sick. These zombie creatures chase them, and the humans just run and hide. The other officers made clicking sounds with their mouths, which meant they found this very funny. "What about their weapons?" asked Admiral Zexian, leaning closer to the hologram. "Very simple," Mordok replied. "They use small metal objects that make loud noises. Some humans carry sharp metal sticks. Their biggest weapons shoot metal balls using old chemical power. No energy beams, no plasma cannons, nothing dangerous." He showed them videos of humans fighting with guns and knives. "See how they fight. Each human fights alone. They do not work together like a proper army. When one human gets hurt, the others become sad and weak. They are ruled by their feelings." Commander Vexstar nodded slowly. "What about their flying machines?" "Huh." Mordok made a sound like a bark. "They still use chemical rockets that burn fuel to move. Very slow, very loud, very stupid. Our ships can travel between stars in days. Their fastest ships cannot even reach their own moon quickly." The hologram changed again, showing human cities from above. The buildings looked small and fragile compared to the massive crystal towers of the Zephyrian Empire. "No shields around their cities," Mordok continued. "No defense platforms in space. No energy barriers. Nothing to protect them. Their leaders live in simple buildings that our weakest weapons could destroy easily. How do they survive?" General Kulvex asked, scratching his head with a sharp claw. "Pure luck," Mordok answered. "Our data shows they face terrible disasters all the time. Giant monsters attack their cities. Their own machines turn against them. Diseases turn their people into monsters. Space rocks fall from the sky and destroy everything. Yet somehow they keep living. Maybe they are tougher than they look," suggested Admiral Zexian. No, Mordok said quickly. "Look at their bodies. Soft skin, no scales, no claws, no sharp teeth. They break bones easily. They need special suits to survive in space. They cannot even breathe underwater. Very fragile creatures." He showed them more videos. Humans crying when their friends died. Humans getting scared of loud noises. Humans running away from danger instead of fighting. See, when they are afraid, they cannot think clearly. When their pack members die, they stop fighting and cry like babies. This emotional weakness will make them easy to defeat. Commander Vexstar studied the images carefully. The humans did look pathetic. Their cities had no defenses. Their weapons were ancient. Their fighters had no discipline. Their leaders looked soft and weak. "How long will it take to conquer this planet?" he asked. 3 days at most," Mordok said confidently. "Our battle fleet will arrive in their system. They will see our ships and surrender immediately. If they try to fight, their primitive weapons cannot hurt our armor. Their chemical rockets cannot catch our faster ships. Their emotions will make them panic and make mistakes." "Perfect," Commander Vexstar said, his mandibles clicking with pleasure. "This will be an easy victory. The Empire needs new territory, and these humans will make good slaves for our mines and factories. The other officers agreed, making happy clicking sounds. This conquest would bring them glory and riches with almost no risk. Prepare the fleet, Vexstar ordered. We attack. In 7 days. Send word to the Emperor that we will deliver him a new world before the next moon cycle. As the meeting ended and the officers left the war room, none of them noticed something important in their data files. The human videos they had studied were not real history. They were entertainment programs from something humans called movies and television shows. The spy drones had accidentally recorded fictional stories instead of real events. The Zephyrian Empire was about to learn a very hard lesson about the difference between human imagination and human reality. Captain Ji-won Kim stood on the bridge of her ship, the EDF Inchin, watching 17 alien vessels appear out of nowhere. The enemy ships looked like giant crystals covered in sharp points and glowing lights. They were beautiful in a deadly way, but Captain Kim had seen worse things in the movies she watched as a child. All stations report ready, said Lieutenant Minho Park from his position at the weapons control. His voice was calm and steady, not scared at all. Good, Captain Kim replied, adjusting her blue uniform. Let them make the first move. We know. They will try to scare us. Around the bridge, her crew worked quietly at their stations. Communications officer Haijin Lee was listening to radio signals from the alien ships. Engineering officer Junho Choi was checking their engines and weapons. Everyone looked relaxed, like they did this every day. The alien ships hung in space like floating mountains. They were much bigger than the human ships, but Captain Kim was not worried. Size did not always mean strength. Suddenly, a harsh voice filled the bridge. It sounded like rocks grinding together, very ugly and mean. Weak humans. We are the mighty Zephyrian Empire. Give up your world now, or we will destroy you all. The crew looked at each other and smiled. This was exactly what they had expected. Lieutenant Park, Captain Kim said, please answer them in their own language. Yes, Captain, Park replied, typing quickly on his computer. Channel is open, Captain. Kim cleared her throat and spoke in a clear, strong voice. Attention Zephyrian ships. This is Captain Ji-won Kim of the Earth Defense Force. You have entered our space without permission. Tell us why you are here. The silence that followed was very long. Captain Kim could almost hear the aliens talking to each other in panic on their ships. Finally, the rough voice came back, but now it sounded confused and worried. You can speak our language. How is this possible? Communications Officer Lee giggled softly. Actually, we can speak 17 different languages, she said cheerfully. Would you like to hear some others? We have been practicing. On the alien flagship, Commander Vexstar was staring at his screens in shock. The humans were not supposed to know alien languages. They were supposed to be primitive and stupid. Sir, his intelligence officer whispered, something is very wrong. Our data said they only spoke one simple language. I can see that, Vexstar hissed. What else did we get wrong? Back on the human ship, Engineering Officer Choi was studying the alien vessels with his sensors. Captain, their ships use crystal matrix drives for power. Very pretty, but our fusion engines are 30% more efficient. Fusion engines. The alien voice crackled through the speakers, now sounding very frightened. Impossible. Our information said you used primitive chemical rockets. Captain Kim raised one eyebrow. I am afraid your information was not correct. Now, about why you are here without invitation. The alien commander made his decision quickly. If the humans would not surrender with words, he would use force. Energy beams shot out from all 17 alien ships, bright red and orange streams of deadly plasma heading straight for the human vessels. But the human ships were not there anymore. Evasive pattern Delta. Captain Kim had ordered a second before the aliens fired. Her ship and the others moved like dancers, spinning and diving through space in perfect formation. The alien energy beams hit nothing but empty space. They're targeting. Computers cannot keep up with our movement, reported Ensign Taeyong Shin from the sensor station. It is like they expected us to just sit still and let them shoot us. Maybe that is what their other enemies did, Lieutenant Park suggested, firing the ship's railgun at the nearest alien vessel. The metal projectile moved so fast it was invisible, punching through the alien's energy shield like it was made of paper. The alien ship exploded in a shower of crystal fragments and bright fire. On the Zephyrian flagship, alarms were screaming. Commander Vexstar watched in horror as his most advanced warship was destroyed by what his intelligence files said was a primitive kinetic weapon. "How are their metal projectiles penetrating our shields?" he shouted. "Sir, they are not using simple chemical propulsion," his weapons officer reported in terror. "These are electromagnetically accelerated projectiles moving at incredible speeds." "Railguns," Vexstar whispered. "They have railguns." More human ships appeared from different directions, firing their impossible weapons with deadly accuracy. The alien formation, designed for fighting enemies, who stayed in neat lines, fell apart as human vessels attacked from above, below, and all sides at once. "Sir, we must retreat," his navigation officer cried, as another Zephyrian ship exploded. "Full retreat," Vexter ordered, his pride forgotten in the face of this disaster. As the surviving alien ships fled toward the edge of the solar system, Captain Kim allowed herself a small smile. "Signal Earth Command," she told Lieutenant Lee. "Tell them first." Contact went exactly as we planned. "Our plans, or theirs?" Lieutenant Park asked, watching the aliens run away. "Definitely ours," Captain Kim replied. "And tell Command something else. Tell them the movies were right. Aliens really are terrible at gathering intelligence about us." The first battle was over, and humanity had won. Admiral Zexion stared at the battle reports with growing fear. His mighty fleet was losing badly to the humans, and he could not understand why. Everything his intelligence officers had told him about these creatures was wrong. "Report," he shouted, at Intelligence Officer Mordok, who was hiding behind his computer station. "Sir, the humans keep changing their fighting style," Mordok said with a shaking voice. "Every time we attack them, they learn something new about our weapons. Then they use that knowledge against us. That should be impossible." Admiral Zexion slammed his claw on the control panel. "Our data said they were undisciplined and fought alone. On the main screen, human ships moved through space like a school of fish. They worked together perfectly, each ship knowing exactly where the others would be. When the aliens tried to surround them, the humans would split apart and attack from 6 different directions at once." Commander Heinwu Nam of the EDF Seoul was showing the aliens just how wrong they were. His ship danced between the enemy vessels, moving in ways that should have been impossible. The alien computers could not predict where he would go next because he kept changing his pattern. "Multiple enemy ships coming at us from the right side," reported Weapons Officer Su Yang Park. "They are trying that energy cascade attack again." "Use formation Omega-7, Commander Nam said calmly. "Let us show them what we learned from watching space battle movies." The human squadron, suddenly, spread out in a complex spiral pattern. The alien energy beams, which were supposed to destroy the human ships, instead got confused and hit 3 Zephyrian vessels by mistake. The aliens had accidentally shot their own ships because they could not handle the human movement pattern. "Sir, they really do not understand how to avoid shooting their friends, do they?" asked Lieutenant Won-Ho Kim, watching the alien ships explode from their own weapons. "Apparently not," Commander Nam replied with a smile. "Their battle tactics are like something from a very old and boring textbook." Back on the alien flagship, General Kovacs was having his own terrible discovery. He was watching human ground soldiers fight against Zephyrian shock troops, and nothing was going as planned. The humans are fighting harder when their friends die, he reported in shock. Our psychological warfare manual says that losing companions should make enemies weak and afraid. What are they doing instead? Admiral Zexian asked, though he was afraid to hear the answer. When one human soldier falls, the others become like angry monsters, General Kolvek said, watching his screen in horror. They fight with more skill, more anger, more determination. A human squad just charged our position, even though we outnumbered them 3-1. Admiral Zexian felt his heart stop beating. What did our intelligence files say about their pack bonding behavior? Mordok looked through his data with trembling claws. We said it was a weakness, sir. The files showed humans getting emotional when their companions were hurt. Emotional how? They fight with increased strength and become more creative in battle. The truth hit Admiral Zexian like a plasma blast to the face. You are telling me that what we thought was their weakness is actually what makes them stronger. The answer came immediately. On the main screen, they watched a human battle group that had just lost its command ship to alien fire. Instead of running away like any sensible species would do, the remaining human ships formed up into a tight formation and began the most devastating attack the Zephyrian fleet had ever seen. The human ships fired their railguns in perfect coordination, punching holes through alien shields that were supposed to be unbreakable. Their plasma torpedoes found weak spots in the alien armor that even the aliens did not know existed. Sir, whispered Communications Officer Thymark, I am detecting a transmission from the human fleet. They are singing. The bridge fell completely silent. Through the communication system came a beautiful, sad song sung by thousands of human voices across dozens of ships. Even though the aliens did not understand the words, they could feel the emotion in the music. It was a song of loss, of remembrance, and of determination that would never break. The song was called Ararung, and it made the humans fight even harder. Sir, General Kolvek said quietly, our shock troops are requesting immediate evacuation. They say the humans fight like demons when they sing that song. Our soldiers are afraid. Admiral Zexion slowly sat down in his command chair, watching another of his ships explode under human weapons fire. The singing continued, beautiful and terrible at the same time. Get me strategic command, he ordered. Tell them we need to throw away everything we thought we knew about this species. What should I tell them about the humans, sir? Admiral Zexion watched the human fleet press their attack with unstoppable fury, their song echoing through space like a war cry from ancient times. Tell them, he said quietly, that we have no idea what we are fighting against. Tell them these creatures are nothing like what we expected. And tell them, he paused as another alien ship died under human fire. Tell them we may have made the biggest mistake in the history of our empire. The singing grew louder, and more alien ships began to explode. Dr. June, you stood in the captured alien laboratory, surrounded by strange crystal machines and glowing panels. Her team of human scientists worked day and night to figure out how the alien technology worked. What had taken the Zephyrians hundreds of years to build, the humans were learning to use in just a few weeks. The quantum device is actually quite simple once you understand it, she explained to General Minjae Seo through the video call. But the aliens have been using it wrong the whole time. Look at this. She pressed a button on the alien machine. Suddenly, part of the laboratory wall just disappeared, leaving a hole you could walk through. Personal teleportation. General Seo asked, his eyes getting wide. Even better, Dr. Yu smiled. We can use this to move soldiers, supplies, and weapons anywhere we want instantly. The aliens only used quantum technology to power their spaceships. They never thought to turn it into a weapon. All across human space, similar scenes were happening. In the asteroid belt, Engineer Do-Yan Lee, was building humanity's first antimatter torpedo using alien-powered technology. The Zephyrians use antimatter just to run their ships, he reported to Earth Command through his radio. But they store it using simple magnetic fields. We are using quantum foam suspension instead. Our version has 3 times more explosive power. On Mars, Commander Sungwon Park watched the first human-built faster-than-light ship complete its first journey. The EDF-V Busan had traveled to the nearest star and back in just 6 hours. The same trip would have taken the alien fleet 3 whole days. "How did we figure out their faster-than-light travel so quickly?" asked his helper, Lieutenant Young Ji Kim. "We did not just copy it," Park replied with a big grin. "We made it better." The aliens never learned about dimensional folding. They have been taking the long way through space this whole time. The real shock came when human ships started appearing in places where they should not be able to go. Supply convoys, which should have been completely safe, found themselves under attack by human vessels that had somehow gotten past every sensor and defense. Admiral Zexian stared at the latest battle reports with complete confusion. How are they doing this? Our deep space watching stations should see any enemy fleet coming from days away. "Sir," his tactical officer said nervously, "the humans seem to have developed some kind of invisibility technology. Our sensors cannot find them until they are right on top of us." What the aliens did not know was that humanity's invisibility technology was really just smart electronic warfare, combined with understanding how Zephyrian sensors worked. The aliens had never bothered to test their own detection systems properly. Captain Young Ji-han of the EDF Gwangju showed this perfectly when her ship appeared from nowhere in the middle of an alien supply convoy. Her vessel had been hiding there all along, tucked behind an asteroid and sending out false signals that made the alien computers think they were looking at empty space. "Target their command ship first," she ordered, watching the alien vessels scramble to respond to an attack they could not understand. "Let us see how well they fight when they lose their leader." The human attack was devastating, not because human weapons were stronger, but because human thinking was better. Every advantage, the aliens thought, they had became a weapon in human hands through simple creativity and quick learning. What made it worse for the aliens was how fast humans could copy their technology. When the Zephyrians developed a new type of shield, human engineers would capture one of their ships, study the shield for a week, and then build a better version. When the aliens tried new attack patterns, human commanders would watch them once, and then develop 3 different ways to counter them. Lieutenant Xian Ho-Jiang was working in a captured alien shipyard, teaching human workers how to build Zephyrian-style weapons using human improvements. "Their plasma cannons are good," he explained to his team, "but they waste too much energy. If we change the focusing crystals and add our own power management system, we can make them 50% more powerful." Within days, human ships were carrying alien-designed weapons that worked better than the originals. The Zephyrians found themselves being shot at with improved versions of their own technology. The worst part for the aliens was that humans seemed to be everywhere at once. Strike teams would hit 3 different targets on the same day, hundreds of light years apart. Supply bases that should have been impossible to reach were blown up by human commandos, who somehow got past every defense. As news of the latest defeats reached Zephyrian headquarters, War Minister Voktal made a decision that would change galactic history forever. "Pull back all our forces," he ordered his generals. "Full retreat to our home systems." "Sir, we still have more ships than they do," one general protested. "Numbers do not matter," Voktal replied sadly, "when your enemy learns faster than you can think of new ways to fight them." The great Zephyrian Empire, masters of space warfare for thousands of years, was running away from a species they had thought was primitive and weak. Behind them, human ships began moving into abandoned alien territory, ready to show the galaxy what Earth's primitive civilization could really do. The Zephyrian War Council met for what everyone knew would be their last meeting about the human war. Admiral Zexion stood before the other alien leaders, his once shiny uniform now damaged from many battles. The weight of complete military failure hung heavy in the air around him. The human species, he began slowly, his voice filled with shame, is not what we thought they were. Every single piece of information we had about them was not just wrong. It was completely and totally wrong. Supreme Commander Velanoth leaned forward on his crystal throne, his 6 eyes focused on the defeated admiral. Tell us exactly what went wrong. The rockets we called primitive were actually fusion drives more advanced than ours, Admiral Zexion explained. The weapons we thought were simple were electromagnetic railguns that cut through our best armor like it was paper. The warriors we said were undisciplined were actually a species that had been preparing for space war through their entertainment for generations. Intelligence Officer Mordok, who had lost his rank and was waiting for punishment, added miserably, "The historical records we studied were not real history at all. They were made-up stories for entertainment. The humans have spent hundreds of years imagining every possible way to fight in space and thinking of solutions. They turned their movies and games into military training." "What about their emotional weakness when their friends die?" asked General Kolvex. "Not a weakness," Admiral Zexion replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "It makes them stronger. When humans lose their friends, they do not break down and cry. They become more dangerous. Every loss makes them fight harder, think faster, and adapt quicker than before." The council chamber became completely silent as everyone realized how badly they had failed. The Zephyrian Empire, the greatest military power in the galaxy for 3,000 years, had been beaten by a species they thought was weak and stupid. "What choices do we have now?" Supreme Commander Velanoth asked. "Run away and hope they do. Not chase us," Admiral Zexion answered honestly. But humanity was already moving into alien space. Captain Siwan Choi of the EDF Daegu stood on the bridge of the first human ship to enter what used to be Zephyrian territory. He watched alien bases surrender without even trying to fight. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Uranam from the communications station, "we are receiving a message being sent to the entire galaxy. It is from the Zephyrian government." "Let us hear it," Captain Choi said. The message was short and desperate. "To all species in the galaxy, stay away from the Sol system. The humans are not what they seem to be. They are not primitive. They are not weak. They are not unprepared. This is the final warning from what remains of the Zephyrian Empire." Captain Choi smiled as he watched alien ships running away from the approaching human fleet like scared animals. "Well, they finally got one thing right about us." "What is that, sir?" asked Lieutenant Nam. "We are definitely not what we seem to be." Behind Captain Choi's ship, Earth's primitive civilization continued expanding into the galaxy. Human vessels carried the knowledge gained from 10,000 fictional space battles and the determination of a species that had never learned how to give up. The age of human control over the galaxy had begun, built on alien mistakes and human ability to adapt and learn. On the Zephyrian homeworld, the final intelligence report was being written. The alien who wrote it was trying to understand how they had been so wrong about everything. "Humans do not fight like any species we have ever seen," the report said. "They do not follow the normal rules of war. When we expect them to do one thing, they do something completely different. When we think we understand their strategy, they change it. When we believe we have found their weakness, it turns out to be their strength. They learn from stories that never happened. They prepare for battles that were never fought. They practice fighting enemies that do not exist. By the time they meet real enemies, they have already won the war in their imagination 1,000 times. Most dangerous of all, they do not accept that anything is impossible. When faced with superior technology, they do not surrender. They steal it and make it better. When outnumbered, they do not retreat. They find ways to make numbers meaningless. When their friends die, they do not mourn. They fight with the strength of the dead as well as the living. 3 months later, the first alien peace delegation arrived at Earth to ask for trade agreements instead of war. They discovered that humanity's greatest advantage was not their weapons or their tactics, or even their technology. It was their imagination, and their ability to make imaginary things become real. The delegates met with human leaders in a simple building in New York. The aliens expected to find a primitive government in a weak structure. Instead, they found leaders who had been preparing for this exact meeting through decades of science fiction stories about first contact. "Welcome to Earth," said President Minseok Park, smiling at the nervous aliens. "We have been expecting you. Please, sit down. We have much to discuss about the future of the galaxy." The aliens sat down carefully, finally understanding that they were no longer the ones in control. Humanity had won not through superior strength, but through superior imagination, and the wisdom to learn from dreams.